Yeah, I want to talk about life post grad and my understanding of the world and how it has changed because I was feeling super embarrassed the other day of myself, and I was like, that's so embarrassing. To be embarrassed of yourself is so embarrassing because you're literally you and you're embarrassed of yourself. Like, you gross. And I was like, oh my goodness, I haven't achieved anything that I thought I would have achieved. Oh my goodness, it's been a year. And whenever I get these thoughts, I'm like, hey, stop. And it's easy to get these thoughts, actually, these thoughts that, like, you're not where you want to be, the your understanding of the world is not matching, like the mental is not matching the physical, so it just like makes you feel down, or makes me feel down personally, because I'm like, and I start to get sad, and then I start to feel behind, and then like I just remember you're never behind in your own life, and I started looking at my circumstances and just like the general trajectory of my life, and I was like, hey, if I got a 9 to 5, the the past 2 years even, I would not be able to do it. I need to be so for real with myself, because until like 2 months ago, I had bacteria in my stomach and I couldn't eat bananas. I couldn't eat bananas until 2 months ago. And also, I couldn't have dairy. Well, I still can't have dairy, but now I don't get stomach cramps. I just get, you know, the local, regular lactose intolerance, not stomach cramps and not being able to move for a couple of days. And I was like, oh, huh. um, I also had to understand a lot of things about myself, or I've had like the chance to get to know so much about my body. Like, even yesterday I was just like randomly itching because I found out that through ancestry, I found out that I have this mutation that makes it so that this gene, like the COMT gene, or I don't know if it's a COMT gene, or like it's a specific gene, and it makes it so that I don't process um, certain hormones well. Like, I can't process what's it called. Oh, what's it called? Ugh, I forgot. I forget the name. I forget the name. I can't process it well. So I would just get hives all of a sudden, like out of nowhere, just itchy, itchy, itchy skin, and I had swollen lymph nodes also. Like, and it hadn't happened for a while. It recently happened again. And I was just itching for the whole day. And I was like, oh my God, what's going on? What's going on? And it's not until I made these two connections between the fact that my genes, my genetic component, like the gene that's supposed to process stress, it works from 0 to 10% because both my parents carried this mutation. And so now I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy in the world with a bunch of genetic mutations that work at 10%, and I overproduce estrogen, which it makes sense. Like, looking back at the way my life is, it makes sense, like how I don't process, my body does not process stress well, because I used to think that I still think I have IBS to some capacity, but then ruled out, stomach bacteria that would have caused would have caused holes in my stomach if it wasn't found at the time it was found. And also the fact that I used to, every time that I would be stressed for an assignment or something was due, I couldn't sleep, and the fact that I didn't sleep, it activated the stress hormones. And given the understanding now that I have that I can't process stress hormones, that would interact with the stomach bacteria that I have and would just like cause a party. It would be party central, and I would be the one feeling the effects of the party. So, for example, one time I woke up and I went straight to the bathroom because like body can't process stress. And on top of that, because my body can't process stress, like the lack of sleep just continues. And another thing is that I realized I'm very stubborn because this issue could have been identified. I've been navigating my life like this since I was 13, 10. Like that's the earliest I remember, like 10, 13, like the recollection of my stomach not functioning the way it's supposed to. But I have separation anxiety and I needed to do a stool sample, and I was like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Because what do you mean? You're taking away something that is a part of me. And it wasn't until 10 years later or so, like 10 years plus later, when I was finally like, oh, I can't do this anymore. And that was because I had to go to a hospital because of another issue. And I was like, oh, this issue's done. This issue's fixed. And then the stomach issue was still there. And I was like, I can't live like this. I can't be in pain anymore, any longer. And that led to me being like, okay, I'll just send it. I'll send it. I don't like the idea of someone else like touching a part. I know someone's about to say, oh my goodness, all you have to do, like you do it every day. No, you don't do it every day. I know the exact location that what is coming out of my body, like I know where it's going. It's going into a sewer system. This one got randomly, don't know what they're gonna do. Like that one lady who she had her cells, um, what's her name? What's her name? Her cells, like they kept just like regenerating and regenerating, and they were using her cells to study a whole bunch of things for years, and no one told her. You know, what if I have that ability with it? It's actually a really messed up story, but no one told her. And I'm like, if I have that ability within my stool and no one tells me, and they're just like taking it and taking it, but that really goes to show that I am right where I need to be in life. You know, I hope I'm making this so that I can maybe connect to other people who are like, hey, my life is not going the way I expected it to, and just let them know that it's really okay. Sometimes it's a lot more than you can see, and it's not, is it hindsight? Like is hindsight the future one? It's not until then where you can get to really see the reasons why things were happening. Because I think if I had a job and if I like relocated to a new place and I was going through all these issues by myself, that would be really hard to process in a new place and alone. And I also think about just like mentally and myself and the way I adjust to things and my neurotype, how that would just also be super hard to do, to just get used to all these changes and all these things happening at once, plus filing your own paperwork, being consistent in like bills and things like that. I think I definitely do need rest, like, because my whole life also, it's been this goal after the next goal and after the next goal, and I haven't really gotten to rest. I haven't really gotten to know myself, and I feel like having this time and understanding that, oh, this is the time when my life is going to be at its slowest and I should just like get into stuff that I am interested in, and because like I have the time, but then also because of my health issues I didn't have the time, because I like to look back, and today I was like, why didn't I just go and take a HVAC class, because it only takes 10 months, and I wish I knew this when I was graduating high school and all of that, because there's so many options that are available, but like college is pushed as your only option because, for example, an HVAC class would only be 10 months and you could start earning money or just like doing projects as soon as possible. And I like working with my hands, and I didn't know working with my hands was an option because like everything was like technical, either medical, technical, specifically in my household. Um, so I didn't understand the options I had. And now that I do, I'm like, there's so much that can be done. There is so much to explore, you know? And just because things are not going the way I want them to, I have to analyze, did I actually like want things to like, would I be mentally prepared for things to be the way I wanted them to? Like, how would I actually feel if everything fell into place the way I wanted it to? And I think for a long time, like, I wasn't ready. And I have to be honest with myself, like, I wasn't physically ready. Because all the health issues as discussed prior, and also because like mentally I wasn't ready. I had never gotten a break. Like, this is the longest that I've gone with having to decide like what I do with my time. And I'm happy about that. But back to the HVAC system, there's this whole like generation of people that is going to be retiring, and so there's going to be a hole in the market, and the replacement rate is not as high as it would be preferred to be. So in the next 10 to 20 years there's going to be a shortage, and people were thinking like AI is the one that's going to be working on these things, but that's clearly not what's happening, because AI is more focused on like taking creative industries and actually industries that involve like less labor intensive industries, which is actually quite interesting if you think about it, given the vision that people had that AI would come in and then humans could just like not do anything, and that's not what's happening. But that's besides the point. What I'm trying to say is evaluate, see, reflect. Maybe you're just where you're meant to be. And it's scary. It's like a scary thought, because I know like for a lot of people, me included, it's you have this like vision and this dream of how everything should turn out. But that's not necessarily, and possibly it's going to be hard to see it now. It's not necessarily what's best, because your life is right where it's supposed to be. You're not in a race. And all these things that we've been told to prioritize, why? You just have to question why and see if this is a thing you want to prioritize, because I feel like the trajectory of life that we've been taught to want to have from such an early age is influenced by our society, and our society is changing in so many ways, and we're changing in so many ways. And it's like, is this something that we want to have actually, is the question that I'm asking.